Like, what would be your overall assessment, Greg, of where the recruiting should be? We'll put aside the records on the field. They don't come close to meeting expectations, but the recruiting classes under Frost versus what you would expect them to be.
Right now he's recruiting 3-star level class, and you want it to be up there at that 4-star level class. You want to, instead of being in the, around the 20th recruiting class, you want to be up there around, 10, 12. That's kind of where they should be. And we've seen in the past, some coaches that could, Bill Callahan, my goodness, he put together a roster full of NFL guys. And so it can be done. And, when you start winning games, then your recruiting is going to bump up. But no, nobody's happy right now with 3-star recruiting. Nobody around here is happy with it. And yeah, things have got to get better.
This is an interesting stat. I don't know where you find this, but it's obviously out there, but it's not on every stat sheet that you find online. But he's saying that
it's a big deal. Yeah.
Only a 30% touchback, that you should do better than that. Yeah.
That's one of the biggest battles going on right now in fall camp is that kickoff position, because Connor Culp he's the field goal kicker. He's got that wrapped up. But they brought in a guy to compete, and then there's a true freshman walk-on that they love that has he's got a cannon for a leg, and he's like a Sam Foltz type of player who was a wide receiver and a safety and a kicker and punter for his team. And I don't think he has not ever had a touchback in his high school career. So, that's a big position of need this year. And they're going to try to get a touchback on every kickoff this year. That's the goal.
Dan, that's a good question. Greg addressed that earlier tonight. So as soon as this live stream's over, what you do is you go back and you watch it. It'll post in about 15 minutes. So as I say all the time, we always have the most people on here at the end of the show. And that's not just this show. This is every show. That's what it happens.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that Coach Osborne sees a lot what I'm seeing, and he loves it because it looks like his old teams for a change. Just with Coach Osborne has not seen this many big bodies on this football team in 15 years. So that's what I'm thinking, and I think he's proud. And I think that the things have finally turned around. He's got his boys in here now. Trev Alberts is the AD. Scott Frost is the head coach. I think that right now Tom Osborne is probably more optimistic in Nebraska football than he has been in a long, long time.
So we've got a big prediction coming out of Evil Carnation. Says he might be the only one that thinks Nebraska is going to beat Ohio State. Offhand, do you remember when that game is? I'll look it up. It's mid-season, right? It's not either early or late. So
season, yeah. Here it is, November 6th. So okay. Late.
Yeah, so about 3 games left at that point, 3 or 4.
Wisconsin and Iowa, last 2 games after that. So
okay, that's right. That's the home stretch. Wow, yeah. That's right.
Yep. So yeah. I think we talked about it. I thought that they were going to win like 2 of those 3 games. I think I predicted a few weeks back, but Ohio State was not the one that I thought they were going to win.
Well, we'll look at it this way. To ask us to forecast a game that's going to happen November 6th, I'm not big on doing that because
it depends too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going to happen between now and then. So let's assume that everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to, which isn't going to happen with every team in the country. But let's see, that's going to be the 10th game of the season. So Ohio State probably goes in at 9-0. Maybe they're 8-1, and Nebraska's 5-4, 4-5, something like that. Maybe 6-3.
Yeah,
6-3. So Ohio State's going to be a decided favorite again we're sitting here the first week of August making these statements 3 months in advance. Ohio State doesn't fix their secondary, and their offense isn't quite as explosive because of the issue at quarterback. And let's say they, for them, stumble around. They're 7-2, and Nebraska outplays themselves a little bit, and they could be 7-2, 6-3 at that point. Then you're looking at more like, okay, we got a ball game here.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, if there's always all those ifs, and if they beat Oklahoma, they're probably a ranked team going into that game, more than likely. But a lot of, like you said, a lot of things going to happen between now and then. And I think we can better predict that midway through the season.
And we can go through the top 5 teams in the country every year, and they typically lose one game, right? And it's not always the game you think they're going to lose. So the last few times Ohio State's lost in Big Ten play, they were not to the teams that you would have guessed at the beginning. It wasn't the Penn State or the Michigan game. It was Purdue. When Purdue lost 7 games that year, they completely tore Ohio State to shreds on that given night. And if you looked at the rest of the season, there's no comparison between the teams. That Ohio State team won the Rose Bowl. They finished 13-1. They were in the top 3 in the country, but on that given night, they lost to a 7-loss Purdue team. They lost to Iowa, who was a good team, but still not on Ohio State's level, but they got murdered. That happened 2 years in a row. So it's not always the team that you expect.
Nope.
So it can happen, and it does.
Yep.
I used to count double-digit underdogs that win during the season. It happens well over 10 times a season, like 15 or 20 times a season. A double-digit underdog wins in college football. Shoot, Wisconsin was a 31-point favorite against Illinois a couple of years ago when they lost that game.
Oh. It's the beauty of college football.